Good evening and welcome to the Delaware County Board of Library Directors meeting for Thursday, December 3rd, 2020. We're going to start with the call to order and the minutes for October. Has everyone read the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
I have one correction.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
No, I have a correction.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, your name.
I'm just going to respell my name to Skeller on those who attended.
All in favor?
No, we need to make a motion.
So I move to approve the minutes with the correction to Susan Keller's name.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to go to the communications and announcements. Kathy?
Yes, all items are quarantined for 96 hours. Libraries will set aside returned items for 4 days before allowing them to be borrowed by the public. We wanted the public to know that no fines will accrue during the 4-day period. The next item is there's limited entry in libraries. As each of our libraries varies in size, we're asking people to check with their individual library for access to the building. As mandated by the governor, masks must be worn in all libraries. And if a patron can't wear a mask, libraries will make accommodations by offering curbside service.
Okay. Go ahead.
Computer use is by.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a question, Kathy.
You have a question? Sure.
Yeah, as COVID numbers are continuing to climb in Delco, is it just up to the individual libraries whether they want to step back on things like, I think our library has brisk brows,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Yeah. Some libraries are allowing entry, and some of them are calling it grab and go or brisk browse, or some are letting people stay a little bit longer. Some libraries have pulled back, and now they're not allowing entry, and they are all curbside. And like I said, it just depends on the individual library. If you go to our website, delcolibraries.org, and select, I think it's our libraries, you'll see
What they're permitting.
Yeah, you'll see what they're permitting. And there's also a slider, I believe, on the homepage that gives you a list of all of their hours and the services that they're providing.
I was just wondering if there was some county-wide discussion going on.
No, since they're all independently run, they all make their own decisions based on their municipalities.
So I have a question with that, Kathy. So Aston is not a standalone library. It's in the community center. So as long as the community center is closed, the library is going to be closed. Now, I don't know whether they've changed that or not.
Pardon me?
I don't know whether they've changed that rule or not. I know that, now I don't know whose libraries are, standalone where they can make their own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Ridley Township, if their municipal building is open or what the case is. But I know with Aston, that was the case. Now, whether they've, lifted anything, I'm not sure. So I guess you have to go on the page just to find out.
Like I said, if you go to our website, you'll see the list of libraries and what each of them are offering as far as services and whether they are allowing people into the buildings. Okay. And the list will be more informative than I can be right now, because we do have 28 locations and I just can't remember what each of them are doing. But just visit the website and that'll answer everybody's questions.
Okay.
Computer use is by appointment only in libraries with limited entry. So the libraries that still are allowing people to come in and browse or grab and go, several of them are still offering computer use, and patrons are able to schedule a 40-minute appointment for computers each day. You just have to contact the library directly to make an appointment.
Okay, moving on to the financial report. Did everyone have a chance to go over the financial report?
I didn't look at it carefully, but Kathy, does that reflect that the state money has been reinstated or not?
It does not reflect that.
Okay.
Hmm.
And when will it
I
reflect
think
that?
it's a little bit further down on the agenda. We're going to talk
Oh,
about
okay.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
Won't jump the gun.
That's okay. Have to go in order, librarian.
Okay, so I move to approve the October 2020 financial report.
And I'll go ahead and second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 5, the administrator's report. Kathy?
Yes, and here's the answer to your question, Jenny. Pennsylvania State Aid, on May 29th, 2020, the governor signed an interim 5-month budget, and the public library subsidy was funded at 5/12 of last year's level. But in November, I'm happy to report that the General Assembly met to consider budget proposals for the remaining 7 months of the fiscal year. And the legislature voted to flat fund public library subsidy, and libraries will be level funded at the 2019-2020 amounts. So we did
That's-
not get cuts, which we are so grateful
That is amazing.
for. Yes. So if you have a chance to see any of your state legislators, please thank them on behalf of public libraries, because we recognize the financial challenges that the state is in, and for them to make that commitment and level fund libraries means they recognize what we do for the community and how we're going to be part of the recovery process. So
It's a huge relief.
it is a huge relief. So what will happen is we'll distribute the remaining 7/12 of the district payment, because we had only funded the libraries at 5/12. So as soon as we receive the remainder of the district payment, we'll turn around and cut the checks and get them to the libraries. Now, the state aid, that's usually dispersed in January of in the beginning of the year. So the state did give us 5/12 of that early back in late October. So we'll get the remain, but we didn't disperse it. The libraries had voted for us to hold on to it until the new year.
Huh.
Yeah. So we're gonna disperse. We're gonna hopefully get the remaining 7/12 in the beginning of January, and then disperse it to the libraries, 100% of the funds by the end of January.
Just
Any
a question,
questions about
Kath.
that?
Just a question. Do you think that they look to see how well, I think we did pretty good during the pandemic. I mean, I don't know how your records show, but I mean, people are leaning back to, or, reading and so forth. Hey, you're stuck in the house, and maybe they just realized how important the library really was, and how, it has helped people, because they're having problems with people who aren't, especially younger people who don't have anything to do with themselves. And hopefully the libraries are, reading and so forth can help. I don't know if they looked at it that way, but I'm glad they gave
No,
it.
we're just happy that they made the decision that they
Yes.
did. And we're grateful that, we have the same level funding of the previous year, and we can make that work.
There were advocacy, you and Annie, and you did, and people out there listening, I think, contacted their legislators. So I'm sure that
Yes.
helped.
Yes. I do want to shout out to all the people, the residents and the library staff that did the hard work of writing letters, making phone calls, sending texts, everything that they did. And this is across the state of Pennsylvania, that, made the legislators sit up and take notice and realize that public libraries do have a lot of community support, and they are a lifeline for a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
like I said, we're really grateful for that.
Okay. 2019 library audits and reviews, Kathy?
Actually, this is Annie, and I put it on there because I believe she needed to make a comment. Was I right, Annie? Did you need to?
I think that at this point, my only comment is that we do still have a few libraries who have extensions from the state to have their audits submitted. Because of the pandemic, many accountants were far behind. So we have a few outstanding, but we have been in touch with all of the directors, and they have been letting the Office of Commonwealth Library know where everything stands with the audits. So we're almost there, but not quite.
Okay, moving on to 6, committee reports. Kathy?
That is also Annie.
Annie, oh my
Yeah.
heavens.
Yes. So I am going to report out on the activities of a few of our staff committees. First will be the policy committee. Our Delaware County Libraries Policy Committee met on November 6th and discussed issues that were brought by member libraries as well as DCL staff. A proposed update to the DCL collection development policy was discussed and will be presented this evening to this board under our new business. So stay tuned for that. A question was raised by a member library regarding program policies, and the committee affirmed that DCL does not have a role in creating policies about programming for individual member libraries. And finally, the committee discussed questions regarding uniformity in fines and loan rules for materials like museum passes and electronics like Rokus and e-readers. We decided that a task force would be formed to explore these issues and make recommendations if there are potentially any changes that need to be made to create more uniformity across the libraries. Our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, the EDI committee, we call it, met on October 16th and also earlier today. The committee discussed a need to clarify its role and decided to distribute a survey to our library staff for feedback. The survey is going to be distributed widely beginning next week. And the EDI committee also scheduled its next staff book club. We had a book club for staff a few months ago and it went really well. So on January 19th, which happens to be National Day of Racial Healing, we will host our second book club for staff members and we'll be discussing me and white supremacy. So that is what that committee has been up to. And then finally, our training committee. Yes, Susan.
Sorry, I'm a book club nerd. So, and also we're at the Literacy Council, we're doing our own racial, systemic racism learning group. So could you share your last book club selection, or how would I have access to the book club selections? Or should I just email
Kathy,
you?
I don't remember off the top of my head what the last book was.
Should I just email you
Wasn't
after?
it so you want to talk about race?
Yes.
I want to talk about race.
Thank you. And Susan, we do have a couple others that we are considering for 2021. So
Is it posted somewhere, or is it just inter-staff communications? That's fine.
Right now it's just inter-staff communication, but I'm sure we would be happy to share it. So send me an email.
That's good. Thank you.
Great. So last but not least, the training committee met in September. The committee reviewed a survey that was completed by Delaware County Library, or I should say member library staffs over the summer. And the survey gave us information about what types of trainings folks were interested in, as well as availability. So what we learned from that survey was that generally asynchronous options were the most popular. So we are exploring options to provide those. However, that being said, we are hosting a live webinar in December with the National Library of Medicine called "Are You Ready? Essential Health and Disaster Information Resources." So we're excited
When
for
is
that
that,
very
Annie?
timely workshop that will be for library staff, both directors and other folks on staff. So that is the reports from our committees.
When is that? When is that webinar?
That is on December 10th.
Okay.
Annie,
Yeah.
what you mentioned earlier, there was a question about DCL's role in programming for individual libraries. What was sort of the nature of the
Sure.
question?
The library was wondering about policies as far as confidentiality of the names of people who might attend programs, specifically in consideration of potential contact tracing during COVID. And if DCL had a policy that would address that. We do, of course, have a confidentiality policy regarding our library records, but not something that extends to programming. And so, you know, the policy committee did, as we said, kind of discuss that programming really is an individual library realm. So it wasn't our role to have a policy there. And that's where we left it because of that.
It's an interesting issue.
Mhm.
It is. But we decided that, you know, because the libraries wouldn't be doing the contact tracing, that it wasn't something that we needed to address right away.
But the libraries in general are not running programs, right? In-person programs.
Correct. There was a brief period where there were a few in-person programs outdoors happening, but I think as the weather gets cold and of course the numbers go up, that's not happening anymore. So it is also sort of a moot point.
Okay, is that all you have, Annie?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 7, new business.
The DCL collection development policy, and after I do a little explaining and we have a discussion, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the new policy. So the current collection development policy that we have in place was approved in 1984, probably before most of you were born.
I was a year old.
It primarily covers how DCL, our office, supports member libraries, as it was drafted at a time when DCL itself was not collecting materials. Over the years, DCL has begun collecting various materials and now needs a policy to help guide our budget priorities and to protect the organization should there be a materials challenge. So it sort of just, you know, kind of was there for years and years. And then when Annie came aboard, I had asked her to review the policy, the 1984 policy, and maybe to put something together that was a little bit more relevant to what we do now. and addresses the materials that we purchase now for residents. So she did. So thank you, Annie. The policy that she came up with and that the policy committee reviewed and all of the directors from the member libraries reviewed is in line with collection development policies that the member libraries have in place, as well as larger library systems within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It includes the American Library Association Library Bill of Rights and a freedom to read statement. And it also includes a process for reconsideration requests for materials. So I had submitted that policy to all of you for your review, and Annie and I will happily take any questions that you might have.
I know I had a question about the mission statement and the part of it that says the library will be children's introduction to technology, which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
So, and I understand that there may be more work being done on the mission statement going forward. And I mean, I'm happy to participate.
Yes, that mission statement, I'm not quite sure how old that is. But of course, you know, it is the statement that we have, and it would take a motion by this board to change the mission statement of the library. So we included it as is, but it is important to know that we have budgeted for a strategic plan in 2021, and part of that strategic plan should include reevaluating the mission statement. And of course, all of you and all the member libraries and their boards and residents and volunteers and a whole gamut of people will probably be involved in that strategic plan. And so we thought that we'll include the mission statement as is in the policy, but knowing down the road that mission statement will probably change.
So this mission statement is not specific or limited to the collections policy. It is the DCL mission statement.
It is.
Okay.
It's on all of our, it's
Got it.
on everything. So it just hasn't been revisited in quite
Okay.
some time. And it does need to be updated. I will agree with you. But we're just not changing it right now. We're including
Got
it
it.
as is. Yeah.
I had a question about how, and we had talked about this in email a little bit, but about how this policy interacts or does not interact with the member library collection policies. So did you want to comment on that?
Right. I do have your email up, and
Like I was a little confused in the one paragraph because it made it sound like the policy what also applied to the member libraries, I thought, but if all the member libraries think that it sounds appropriate, I'm fine with that.
Right. And it doesn't. This policy only pertains to materials that we collect at the Delaware County Library level. For those people that are attending that aren't aware of how libraries are set up in Delaware County, each library in Delaware County is an independent entity. They have their own board of directors. They're funded by their municipalities. Our office, which we call Delaware County Libraries, is we're part of the government of Delaware County, and our role is to provide services to these independent member libraries. And part of those services are materials, things that we purchase for all residents to use. So this policy only addresses the materials that we purchase at our level, not the individual library purchases. So if a challenge comes along where someone, disagrees with something we purchased or something that we haven't purchased at our level, that would only be isolated to us, not to all the libraries. If somebody challenged a book that an independent member library bought, that would be at their level. That would go through their board of directors.
Does DCL get requests for reconsideration?
Not under my tenure. I don't know if prior, I can't really remember off the top of my head. Annie, do you remember?
I'm not aware that,
Yeah.
there has been any requests for reconsideration. To be honest, it doesn't happen all that often at member libraries either, although it does on occasion. But I think that as we collect more, with our overdrive and that sort of thing, more public facing materials, the possibility grows. So it is a good idea to have something in place.
I totally agree. We need to have a
Yeah.
process and a procedure. I just
Right.
wondered how often it,
How often do we
I'm
get a challenge?
yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't remember any. I do not remember any.
The last one I remember, I think there was a challenge at Radnor years ago about the Gossip Girl series. And it was a man who made the complaint, which I think it, the book stayed on the shelves.
Yeah, well, this policy is something that we can, share with the public and say, this is why we made the decision to purchase this item. And there are steps in place if you feel the item should not be on the shelf. And so it's just a way to guide us all and, make sure we're doing the right thing.
Well, I thought the revision was extremely well done. So kudos to Annie.
Yes. Annie did that
No,
single-handedly. So yay, Annie.
Thank you.
So, and I saw that there were some like slight typo or grammatical changes like made today.
Yes, and I sent that out to all of you and I highlighted those in yellow.
Yes.
So the change that I sent out to you will be what you're actually making a motion and voting on right now and will become the policy.
Okay, so I make a move to approve the revised collection policy for DCL that was sent out today.
And I will go ahead and second the same thing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 8, old business.
Okay, so the last time we met, I was happy to inform everyone that we had received $100,000 in CARES funding for
Yes.
ebooks and audiobooks. So I'm going to give you an update on where we are with that spending. Annie and Sherry, who's our youth services coordinator, they're both working to expand the overdrive collection to meet the increased demand. That's a direct result of the pandemic. Purchases are being made in 3 general areas: new titles, extra copy of high demand titles, and support for schools and their curriculums. And I'm not sure if any of you are ebook or audiobook borrowers. I am personally, and I request a book and I get it the next day, which is almost unheard of.
Wait,
So,
say that again?
I know. I request a book and I get it like the next day
Who do you request it from?
from Overdrive.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you're an ebook or an audiobook reader, the holds are really, I mean, what Annie and
Months.
Sherry have done, they're just amazing, the titles and the way they're keeping up with demand. So she is almost, I believe you guys are almost finished that spending, Annie. We have to be done with the purchasing by December 9th. So,
Wow.
yes, they will meet that date.
That's great.
Mhm. The next item, the Overdrive Public Library Connection, SORA. We had talked about this at the last meeting. Sherry was here, and I just wanted to give you an update on that. Also, you guys had approved that after the board approval of the Public Library Connection SORA release form at the October meeting. It was provided to a number of local schools, and that allows them access to our Overdrive ebook and audiobook collection through their school. So at this time, I'm happy to report that Southeast Delco, Radnor, Ridley, Haverford, Garnet Valley, and Rose Tree Media have all signed and returned their release. So we're just awaiting Overdrive's launch of all these connections, but there's a bit of a backlog. I think 2 have gone live since I took these notes. I'm not
Yes,
quite sure.
just this week, Haverford and Ridley's connection has gone live. So we're hopeful the others will be soon.
Right. So what this does is it allows school kids to access our collections without their Overdrive, without their library card. They can do it through their school ID or whatever the librarian has set up in their school.
So it has to be set up by the library in the school.
Yes. And you had voted on a form the last time we met.
Right.
And as long as I get that form back from the schools, these kids get access to the Overdrive collection.
Is there a reminder that can go out to these schools that have not signed up?
I believe Sherry, our youth services person, she's on top of that. So
Okay.
she contacts all the schools and lets them know that, you know, we're willing to partner with them to get books into the hands of kids without that hurdle of having to come into the library with a parent, get a library card, get a signature, and you know, all that other stuff. We're trying to break down barriers to reading and listening materials.
And is there a way that we capture the circulation data so that we can track that?
Yes, the good news is we get to keep the statistics. So yes, we get to see how popular and how the whole program is working.
Okay.
The next item is, that I reported. We also received $500,000 in CARES fund for a number of things. So on September 16th, just to refresh your memory, County Council approved $500,000 in CARES funding for library services. ECL staff is working diligently to procure the materials and services approved in this request. And when I say working diligently, and Annie can attest to this, we live and breathe CARES.
Wow.
That's pretty much all we do.
And does
So-
that also all have to be spent by December 9th?
It does.
Ooh.
So we're very grateful for this, and we really, we want to make it happen. So the first thing I'm happy to report is there was fine reimbursement for juvenile fees over $20. So every juvenile that had fines on their cards, $20 and over, those were wiped clean. It was a clean slate, and we reimbursed the libraries, so those kids now have access to library materials. The next thing was Hoopla. That is a new streaming service that we're really excited about. That just went live on December 1st. We signed a contract with Midwest Tape, who's the parent company, for $150,000. So everyone in Delaware County that has a library card, please go on and you can download Hoopla. It's an app. You can use it on your tablet, your phone, your smart TV. I'm sure I'm missing other things. but it gives you access to ebooks, audiobooks, music, TV shows, documentaries, comics, movies, and it's all free with your library card.
All right.
Do you have any questions?
No, it's great.
Okay. The
Just
next,
how much money's left out of the 500,000 that we need to spend by December 9th?
we spent it.
Oh, you spent it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going through it. Can I?
Sorry.
Yeah, I have a longer list. Can
Were
I
you
just-
setting up Wi-Fi
Yeah,
hotspots?
yeah, it's the next item
Oh,
on the agenda. Let me go. Let me go through.
okay.
What's the difference between Hoopla and Overdrive?
Oh, Hoop Overdrive
Hoopla
is,
does more things, but what's
yeah,
the ebooks and the others?
Overdrive is you request a book and if it's not
Circulation.
available, you get in a line. Hoopla is on demand, like you can have 100 people reading the same title simultaneously, which is really great, Susan, for book clubs. You
Yeah,
talked about book clubs.
Yeah.
So, there's no wait. So that's what I needed to add. So thank you so much for asking that question.
And there are different titles on the two. You might find some that are on both Overdrive and Hoopla, but others are exclusive to one or the other. So definitely check out both.
then do we collect circulation of Hoopla or not?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, moving on to the next item is Wi-Fi extenders for member libraries. So to allow all libraries to provide Wi-Fi outside of their buildings, Wi-Fi extender equipment is being provided to 16 libraries that did not already have this ability. We are in the process of procuring them. They are being shipped as we speak. So they were sort of the last thing that we were ordering. So we were really happy to get that in under the wire.
And does that include installing them?
The person who's actually running this Zoom meeting Jason, do you want to share your face? He probably doesn't. He's probably not even listening. Okay, so Jason, the voice from above, and the other IT people who I'd like to name, Renee Kelly and Jeff Barcliff, will be installing them at all the libraries, and they are members of the DCL staff.
Good.
So that works out really well.
Mhm.
The next item is outdoor seating for member libraries. 16 libraries requested a total of 29 sets of outdoor seating. The seats were delivered on November 5th and November 12th. If you have a chance and you're riding around the county, you'll notice some libraries do have these sets of tables and chairs outside. They're ADA compliant. They're like a silver type material. They're very nice. Annie and Jason delivered them to the libraries. I believe it was last week or the week before. It's all blurred now, but it's outside seating, and we're happy to report that people are using them. So they're sitting outside the
That's
library
great.
and they're hooking up to Wi-Fi and they're doing what they need to do. So
That's
the whole purpose of
fantastic.
them, yeah. So and if the weather,
Holds out.
yes, if it's a warm winter, maybe they'll get a lot more use out of them too. The next thing is 100 hotspots for circulation.
Wow.
So we have ordered hotspots from an organization called TechSoup. They were processed and they are now available for checkout. So our residents can borrow hotspots. I believe it's a 3-week lending period. So if you need access to Wi-Fi, as a matter of fact, I borrowed one because my Wi-Fi doesn't come upstairs. So I'm speaking to you now because I have this hotspot and my laptop is hooked up to it.
That's
Kathy, I
really
don't have-
cool.
Is that,
I don't have that on my agenda.
it's on the agenda. I'm
When
looking
I
at,
print it out, it stops at Delaware County Public Library support.
That's where we are.
Is that all included in this here whole discussion?
Yep. Yeah, this is the
Okay, so
500,000.
Sorry,
1,000.
sorry.
Andrew, did you have a question?
yeah, so how do you pay for the hotspot then?
What do you mean?
Just borrow it.
How do we pay for it?
You paid for it, right? Or
Right,
how-
we pay for, yeah, we pay the monthly subscription, or well, actually it's a yearly subscription. And then, we lend them out.
Oh, so so DCLS will pay that yearly subscription. and then
Yes.
give it out to everyone. Okay.
Yes, but there's no cost to residents.
So
Okay.
how
We
long
borrow them for free,
how long are people allowed to take them out for?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
And how are we publicizing that?
We are, it's, a little bit further down.
Okay. Okay.
Wow,
I'm
Jen.
just gonna stop
Jenny,
saying anything.
you're killing me. Okay, the next thing that we purchased were new library cards, because with all of the new wonderful things that we're ordering and making available to residents, we know that people are going to want to sign up for a library card. So we purchased new library cards and we branded them with the hashtag Delco Strong on all of them. And there's also an image of the perimeter of Delaware County on there.
Yeah.
So if you
Cool.
do not have a library card, please, you can either apply online or you can go to one of your local libraries and apply for a new Delco Strong library card. PPE, we are getting additional PPE, including hand sanitizer stands, masks, gloves, wipes, and spray were ordered through the county central purchasing department. They had ordered them the week before Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving, and they're due to arrive any day, and that will all go out to the member libraries. Last but not least, we decided that we had to let everyone know about all of these new services that we're providing. So we set some of the CARES money aside for marketing. We created a comprehensive marketing plan to promote the added services, particularly Hoopla, the extended Wi-Fi, and the circulating hotspots. The campaign includes social media ads, bookmarks, banners for member libraries, 2 billboards, and 8 bus shelter advertisements.
Wow.
It's
Yes.
Will we get an article in the Delco Daily Times?
You know what? Yes, we can. What we'll do is I will have our PR person, Teresa, reach out to the head of PR for Delaware County, and we will get something out there to let
Great.
everyone know.
I believe there was a press release, Kathy. I'm not sure if it's gone out yet.
There you go. See, they
But I know
already,
it's been drafted.
they're
on top of
3
it.
steps ahead of me. So, so are there any questions about any of the CARES money?
No, great job.
Yeah, I'd like to
That was
say
a
I did it,
challenge.
yeah. But it was the staff at DCL, they're just amazing. They're like the best of people, and they anything, like we had a meeting and I said, okay, we're getting this money. So can everybody, take a little, and they just stepped right up, and they've made it happen. So kudos to the staff at DCL.
Congratulations to the staff. Thank you.
Awesome job.
Okay, so no questions. We're moving on to number 9, public comments. Did we have any?
Yes.
Oh, right.
So, we just got a comment from Bob Fife, who I believe is the president of the Middletown Board. He just sent a picture of people using the outdoor tables at the Middletown Library, and he said, thanks for outdoor seating.
That
I
is
don't know if I can
wonderful.
share the picture without screwing everything up, but it's really cool. It's two people like working on their laptops and working at the table. So that's really
That
nice.
is
That's good
neat.
to hear.
Can use it in the promotional materials.
Yes. We also did have a comment from Jen Stock, who's the director of the Upper Darby Libraries. And Jen shares that the Upper Darby Township and Sellers Memorial Free Public Library would like to recognize retiring staffers Jane McDevitt and Elaine Irwin. Jane retired in November after 21 years as a children's librarian at the Sellers Memorial Branch, and Elaine is retiring this month after 45 years of service. She's been the
Wow.
library's cataloger, head of technical services, and assistant director. We thank Jane and Elaine for their dedication to the Upper Darby community and Delaware County libraries and wish them long and restful retirement. And I would
Lovely.
be remiss if I did not share that our office manager slash bookkeeper, Donna Delafranco, is retiring tomorrow.
Oh,
She still has some
Wow.
care stuff to do tomorrow. I haven't told her that, but she is retiring after, I believe it's 6 years of service in our office.
Good.
So we will miss her.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I have.
Okay, well, if there's no more business. I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I
Oh,
move,
Helen, do you have a question?
no, I move to adjourn.
So Mary Ann, she's making the motion. Inder?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll see everyone then on February 4th virtually on
Yeah.
Zoom. You'll send out,
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
yes.
To the extent possible.
Pandemic.
Yes, be safe, everybody. Wear your mask.
no.
Yes.
Good to see
Thanks.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Annie, for your Christmas
Yes.
tree and letting it know that it's the holidays.